Hey everybody, today we've got an update from two different 2024 races. One of them is going to be the Virginia Senate election, but first we're going to talk about this New Hampshire governor's race. I also should point out that I'm closing in on 1,000 subscribers. I really do appreciate it. Let's get to 1,000. Let's go way past 1,000. So do remember to like, share, and subscribe. So anyway, you might have already heard, but here it is. Chris Sununu, four-term Republican governor, has decided to call it quits. He's not going to run for re-election next year. So I've got an AP News story up here, but this is all over the place. It's being characterized as an unexpected move, and I agree it's a little bit unexpected, but not completely. I thought it was more unexpected that Sununu did not run for the U.S. Senate last time. I guess he wanted to put in just 2 more years as governor and then step down. So he says here they call it public service, not public career, and that's the sentiment everybody expresses when they step down on their own as opposed to term limits. But this does shake up politics in New Hampshire. They're already dealing with the DNC moving the first primary to South Carolina. We still have to see what happens with that, but Sununu says here, I'm going to be an aggressive proponent of everybody else besides Trump and a proponent of the Republican Party. Donald Trump does not represent the Republican Party. He might be our nominee, but he doesn't represent the future. He's yesterday's news. Down here he says Trump has no chance of winning the presidency in 2024, and he's going to campaign with several Trump rivals. This is another thing everybody hates about politics. All you have to do is say he does have a chance of winning, because he clearly does. And almost everybody said he had no chance of winning in 2016. So it's pretty clear that he doesn't even want to entertain the thought of what's actually happening, and that is Trump having a reasonable chance of winning. I don't know why you can't just say, I don't like him, but he has a chance of winning. Anyway, this article goes on, but now there's going to be a real battle for governor next year. So let's get on the Wikipedia page. We've got Chuck Morris. He's already declared his candidacy. He very narrowly lost to Don Bolduc for the U.S. Senate nomination just last year. He only lost by a point or two, and he was the preferred candidate of Chris Sununu and the wider establishment. Also very likely to get into the race is former U.S. Senator Kelly Ayotte. She won 1 term, very narrowly lost in 2016. She's going to have high name recognition, and there's probably going to be a contentious primary at least between Morris and Ayotte. There's another announcement pending here from Frank Edelbutt, not really familiar with him. We also have Don Bolduc again as a potential candidate, and Kevin Smith, who also ran for U.S. Senate in the midterms. Here's a primary poll without Sununu, and it shows Kelly Ayotte is leading with 69%. Chuck Morris is down at 22%, Frank Edelbutt at 9%. Tons of time left. Things are going to change, but that is a commanding lead for Kelly Ayotte. Now, because it's going to be an open seat, and Chris Sununu had so much success in his previous 3 wins, this race is now going to become a battleground or a toss-up. So we have 2 declared Democrats here, Joyce Craig, Cindy Warmington. We've got some declined candidates here. They could always change their mind. We'll see what happens. We'll see which kind of campaigns these 2 are going to run. Is there going to be a super progressive candidate? Is there going to be a centrist corporate type of candidate? Probably, but again, it's early. We'll see what happens. We've got some endorsements here already, kind of a split between Warmington and Craig, and now we do have Cook showing this as a toss-up. Sabato also has it as a toss-up. Inside Elections does not have it updated, but it says battleground from back in January. So this is an interesting race. Sununu has been very popular during his 4 terms. The Democrats think he's too extreme, too much in the Trump direction. The Trump base, they think Sununu is too mild, not enough in the Trump direction. You get this in politics all the time, just like with the Democrats. Progressives think the Democrat is not nearly progressive enough, and the Republicans think the standard Democrat is far too progressive or far too liberal. This is exactly how it goes all the time in politics. Both sides think the other is extreme, even when they're much closer to the middle. You're never going to get anywhere, but that is an updated look at this New Hampshire governor's race. Also, we might want to see if neighboring Phil Scott in Vermont, if this has any effect on him running for re-election. Now let's move on to the Virginia Senate election. Here's the story right here. Hung Cao announces bid for U.S. Senate in Virginia. If you don't know who Hung Cao is, he ran in the midterms in the U.S. House in Virginia's 10th district. He lost, but the race was closer than usual, so that gives Republicans hope that there's an outside chance Hung Cao could be the guy to go up against Tim Kaine. So this article gives some background about Hung Cao. He has the immigrant story. Some people think that's important, some people don't care. He also has a video here. I can play the first few seconds of it.
This is the scariest sound you will hear when you live in a communist country.
So that's pretty hard-hitting right there. He goes right for the communist angle. Republicans love this topic. Democrats scoff at it. They think it's a mischaracterization. And we've seen it before. The socialist communist stuff, it's hit or miss. Sometimes it has some more impact. Sometimes it falls flat. I think it depends. If it's a red-leaning environment, then this stuff is going to matter more. But if it's not, voters might just think he's overplaying the communist stuff. So there's plenty of articles about Hung Cao all over the place. But let's take a look at this U.S. Senate election. So we've got Tim Kaine. He's running for a 3rd term. Last time in 2018, it was a blue wave, but it was no contest. He won by 16 points. And Tim Kaine's name recognition is as high as it can be in Virginia. He's already a two-term incumbent. He was a governor previously. He was Hillary Clinton's running mate in 2016. So Hung Cao is going to have some catching up to do with that. And Tim Kaine, he's kind of just a standard Democrat. He's not going to excite any progressives. I don't think he's really that charismatic, but he's been sturdy enough to get the job done. So all the focus this time is on the Republican side. And there's Hung Cao right here. He's declared. There are 4 other declared candidates on here. Cao might be considered the top-tier candidate Republicans wanted. They had to put up somebody against Kaine. They couldn't just let him win it by 16 points again. So anybody could enter the race, and we still have Glenn Youngkin as a potential candidate on here. I don't think that's going to happen at all. I think he's much more suited for governor, and I think it would be close, but he would still probably lose against Kaine. Maybe he runs in the future, but I don't think he would step down a year early as governor. So we do have some endorsements here already. Scott Parkinson, he's got a bunch lined up. He used to work for Ron DeSantis, and he entered the race a few months ago. So it's not a guarantee it's going to be Hung Cao. It's always hard to predict. I would think Hung Cao stands a better chance, but I'm open to a lot of different possibilities. There's one general election poll here from last year. Tim Kaine leads Glenn Youngkin by 2 points. So one more thing to look at about Hung Cao. He ran in Virginia's 10th last time. Let's take a look at that district. It's in Northern Virginia, but it's definitely not the bluest district. The Cook PVI has it as a D+6, and Cao went up against Jennifer Wexton last time. And we also have to remember there was redistricting before the last election. She was winning by about 12 to 13 points in 18 and in 20. In 22, Hung Cao got it down to about 7.5 points. So that's an improvement, but it's still a solid loss. It's not close enough to where I would think Hung Cao has a legitimate shot at beating Tim Kaine. I've had that race at likely Democrat. This doesn't change anything, at least until we see some more polling as we get into next year. I would think Tim Kaine would win by at least 5 points, but definitely less than his 16-point margin back in 18. So there's some hype around Hung Cao. He does have to get through a primary. He ran for Congress before. He's tested. Not sure what's going to happen, but that's an updated look at this Virginia Senate election. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about either of these stories? Who's going to be the next Republican nominee in New Hampshire? Will the Democrats be able to flip it? And in Virginia, is Hung Cao the top-tier candidate for the Republicans? Will he be able to get through a primary? What would the margin be against Tim Kaine? Let me know your thoughts down below. On your way out, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video.